Secrets of a 1,000-year-old mummy revealed. The morning sun cast long shadows across the sprawling neighborhoods of modern Lima as Carlos Mendoza adjusted his hard hat and checked the pipeline route on his tablet. Another day, another section of gas line to install beneath Peru's bustling capital. He'd been doing this work for 15 years, threading modern utilities through a city built layer upon layer of history. "Miguel, bring the excavator closer to the marked area," Carlos called to his teammate. They were working in Cajamarquilla, on Lima's eastern edge, where ancient adobe walls occasionally peeked through contemporary construction. Nothing unusual for Peru. The past and present lived side by side here. The mechanical digger bit into the sandy soil, and Carlos monitored the depth carefully. Gas lines required precision. Too shallow and they'd interfere with other utilities. Too deep and installation became unnecessarily complex. But as the bucket lifted its third scoop, something caught his eye. "Espera." "Wait!" Carlos raised his hand, and Miguel shut off the engine. Where loose dirt should have been, Carlos saw the edge of something deliberate, a stone slab, carefully fitted against others. His heart quickened. In his years of infrastructure work throughout Lima, he'd learned to recognize the signs. This wasn't random rubble or colonial-era construction. The stonework was older, more precise. "We need to call this in," Carlos said, pulling out his phone. Per Peruvian law, any archaeological discovery during construction required immediate notification of the Ministry of Culture. Work would halt until experts could assess the find. Dr. Isabella Vargas received the call at her office in Lima's historic center. As one of Peru's leading pre-Columbian archaeologists, she responded to dozens of such discoveries. Most turned out to be minor finds or false alarms. But something in Carlos' description intrigued her. The stonework he described sounded like the careful masonry of the Aycma culture, who had inhabited the Lima region centuries before the Inca conquest. 2 hours later, Dr. Vargas knelt beside the partially exposed stones, brushing away loose soil with practiced care. Her pulse quickened as the structure's outline emerged. This was definitely a tomb, and from the construction style, it was old, very old. "We're looking at pre-Inca construction," she announced to her small team of graduate students who had rushed to join her. "Possibly Aycma culture, maybe 1000 to 1200 CE. We need to proceed extremely carefully." Over the next 3 days, Dr. Vargas's team meticulously cleared the tomb entrance. The structure was remarkable, a small but elaborate burial chamber constructed with perfectly fitted stones, sealed for nearly a millennium. When they finally opened the tomb, LED lights illuminated a sight that made Dr. Vargas catch her breath. The child couldn't have been more than 8 years old when they died, but death had been transformed into something eternal through the ancient art of mummification. The dry climate of Lima's coast, combined with careful preparation by skilled morticians of the Aycma culture, had preserved the small figure in extraordinary detail. The child sat in a fetal position, wrapped in layers of finely woven textiles. Cotton and vicuna wool dyed in vibrant reds, yellows, and blues that had barely faded across the centuries. Around the mummy were grave goods that spoke of high status. Gold ornaments, ceramic vessels painted with intricate designs, and most remarkably, a collection of shell and precious stone beads that could only have come from distant regions of the Inca Empire. This child wasn't just anyone, Dr. Vargas whispered to her colleague, Dr. Roberto Silva, as they documented each artifact. "Look at these burial goods. The gold work, the imported materials, the quality of the textiles. This was likely nobility, maybe even royalty within the Aycma hierarchy. But it was the child's face that most captivated the team. The mummification process had preserved delicate features so well that they seemed almost lifelike. A small gold mask covered the upper face, while the lower portion revealed skin that looked as if the child had died yesterday, not 1,000 years ago. As news of the discovery spread, it attracted international attention. The find represented one of the best-preserved pre-Columbian child mummies ever discovered in Peru, offering unprecedented insights into the sophisticated Inca civilization that had thrived in the Lima region before being absorbed into the expanding Inca Empire. Dr. Vargas coordinated with specialists from around the world. CT scans revealed that the child had died from what appeared to be a respiratory infection, probably pneumonia. Isotope analysis of the hair and fingernails showed a diet rich in marine protein, confirming the Inca people's sophisticated relationship with the Pacific Ocean. Most remarkably, DNA analysis revealed genetic markers that connected this child to indigenous populations still living in the Andes today. The textiles told their own story. Master weavers had created burial wrappings using techniques so advanced that modern textile experts struggled to understand how they'd achieved certain patterns and dyes. The colors had been created from plants and minerals gathered across a vast territory. Indigo from coastal valleys, red from highland cochineal insects, yellow from a rare mountain flower. Perhaps most intriguingly, hidden within the deepest layers of wrapping, the team discovered thin sheets of beaten gold inscribed with symbols. These weren't random decorations, but appeared to be a form of proto-writing, possibly recording the child's name, lineage, or achievements. If confirmed, it would represent one of the earliest examples of symbolic communication in pre-Columbian South America. The ceramic vessels provided clues about Inca religious beliefs and daily life. One pot depicted a complex scene of figures engaged in what appeared to be a ceremony involving the ocean, possibly the child's funeral rites. Another showed agricultural scenes with crops that were still cultivated in Peru today: potatoes, quinoa, and maize. But the most remarkable discovery came when Dr. Vargas's team examined the tomb's walls more closely. Painted in mineral pigments that had survived the centuries, they found murals depicting the child's life and the world they inhabited. The paintings showed a sophisticated society with monumental architecture, complex irrigation systems, and extensive trade networks reaching from the Amazon rainforest to the high Andes. One mural particularly captured Dr. Vargas's imagination. It showed the child, recognizable by distinctive gold ornaments, participating in what appeared to be a ceremony at a massive temple complex by the sea. In the background, the artist had painted dozens of ships, not the small fishing boats one might expect, but large vessels capable of long-distance ocean travel. This changes our understanding of pre-Columbian maritime capabilities, Dr. Vargas explained to reporters who had gathered for the official announcement. We knew the Inca people were skilled fishermen and coastal traders, but this suggests they may have had the technology for much longer ocean voyages than we previously believed. The discovery also provided new insights into childhood in pre-Columbian Peru. The child's teeth showed excellent nutrition and dental care. Small tools found in the tomb suggested that even at 8 years old, they had been learning sophisticated crafts. Most touchingly, a small wooden toy, a perfectly carved miniature llama, lay clutched in the mummy's hand, a poignant reminder of the human story behind the archaeological find. As the months of study progressed, the child mummy became a bridge connecting Peru's indigenous past with its present. Local communities, many of whom trace their ancestry to pre-Columbian peoples, felt a deep connection to the discovery. Elders from highland villages came to see the mummy, recognizing textile patterns and artistic motifs that still appeared in contemporary indigenous art. The Peruvian government decided that the mummy would become the centerpiece of a new wing at the National Museum of Archaeology, Anthropology, and History. The exhibition would tell the story not just of this one child, but of the sophisticated Inca civilization and the continuity of indigenous culture in Peru. For Carlos Mendoza, the gas line worker whose keen eye had spotted those first stone blocks, the discovery transformed his understanding of the land he worked on every day. The Ministry of Culture honored him and his team for their careful handling of the find, and Carlos began volunteering at local archaeological sites on weekends. I always knew Lima was built on history, Carlos reflected, standing in the completed museum exhibition a year later. But I never imagined I'd help bring a 1,000-year-old child back to tell their story. The pipeline project was eventually completed, rerouted around the tomb site, which was preserved as an archaeological park. School children now visit the location where the mummy was found, learning about the sophisticated civilizations that flourished in their homeland long before European contact. Dr. Vargas continued her research, using the discovery as a foundation for understanding the complex pre-Columbian societies of coastal Peru. The child mummy had become more than an archaeological specimen. They were a messenger from the past, carrying stories of human ingenuity, artistic achievement, and the universal love that had led parents and community members to prepare this small person for eternity with such care and devotion. In the end, the 1,000-year-old mummy revealed the most profound secret of all, that across the centuries, despite different languages, technologies, and ways of life, the fundamental human experiences of love, loss, hope, and the desire to be remembered remain unchanged. The child from ancient Lima had found their voice again, speaking across a millennium to remind the modern world of the rich heritage that lies beneath their feet, waiting to share its secrets with those wise enough to listen.